Henry McClure live. Hey, it's Sunday night. This is the late show, and I'm about ready. I'm about ready to go home. Uh, I've been using my. Have you ever seen my soaking tub? It's a horse trough. The really nice shishi tub. The one that I imagine. You know, when my imagination goes wild. There's a lot of utility in the horse trough. But that aside, I digress. Henry McClure live here in the Glass Houses studio, which is part of the Ryan Mowinkle empire of real estate, home to the State Farm Insurance Agency and others. Hey Mo, sorry, I flooded. I flooded the basement there a little bit, but we got it cleaned up. I know you might be a little mad, but hey, how are you tonight? I want to talk about Gage in 37. And there's a long history with this for me. There always is. It took me 2 years to get the Catholics to buy that land. Um, Dana Kay at one time owned the parcel behind it with some other land, but that partnership split up. And why am I still messing with it even after uh, you know the whole thing got started because I really thought that after Bunton got out and Blackburn was gone, that whole thing about the political whore and all that stuff, that was on the books to start happening, and then Bunton pulled it. Bill Bunton pulled the whole project due to uh, just hatred over Blackie for you know I don't know. I think Bunton was a hack. Um, he was the first mayor that that when we went to the city manager form of government, and he definitely never made Norton Bonaparte feel like a part of this community. And if you ever got to know Norton, he was kind of soft spoken, a good guy. I always liked the guy a lot. Um, I could get in to see him anytime. He'd answer my phone calls. Uh, he had a sense of humor, and I think Blackie, what Blackie and Bunton got involved with, it was just terrible. So, but what the truth about Elevation Parkway, or whatever you want to call it, it's been on the books like 30 or 40 years. And one of the only reasonable things Bill Rapon has been saying lately is, don't give up on that project. And I said, well, Bill, I'll do it I'll stick with it if you give up you got to get off the idea of putting a saloon in the Ward Mead. It's all trade offs, right? But so I've got to get this project off my plate. It's my duty to Dana Kay. I got to do it. And for people, you know, so you can say you can have all these beautiful ideas, but money talks and bullshit walks. I agree with Andrew. That was a shitty plan, and it was a plan just thrown up. Uh, it was just we had a prospect that wanted to do some multifamily there, so we just threw that up there to get kind of a head count of what you could do there in density. So that's not even a plan. But I do think the southern part of that plan. Let me see. I kept if you refer to my uh, I think that we can have 3 or 4 entryways off of Gage. The one even with Vern's liquor store. The one, let's see, what street's that? Well, anyway, the three streets, 38th Street Terrace, 38th Street, Vern's Liquor Store, and then, of course, 37th and Gage. And I do think at 37th Street, there's some utility there for a commercial site, but because you know something, I'm a commercial developer, and that's just the way I think. So um, we'll push. So I do have somebody that might have some interest, and that person doesn't, don't feel like you're obligated. I'm not going to name any names, but you don't have to be obligated to help me with this project because I'm going to work on some of your projects. But hey, we're just putting it on the table. Um, Now, off of Evening Side Drive in the very, what would be the very northwest corner, my last meeting with Mike Hall went very productive. We've got to look into, there's some details that we have to worry about. Uh, uh, Whether we're going to have a cul-de-sac at the end of Evening Side Drive, but I think I can get 4 or 5 lots on the part that's cut off over there from the stream buffer, and so I think I've got some creative ways to lay this thing out to where uh, we'll put the property line on the east side of the stream buffer, and then push the backyards kind of up. There's a sewer line that runs right through the middle of it. So that property has some challenges. And with all that in mind, this probably would be a place that would qualify for a TIF and then a CID. And we could use, and again, this is another reason to use that same um, uh, idea of having a uniform development agreement. Here's what's probably the most screwy thing about the whole thing. They'd probably require a traffic study. Well, no, you got to have a traffic study. And there's something wrong. There's something rotten in Denmark when you're paying a California company $1 million in consulting fees and more, and when we ought to just hire a traffic guy. So here Kevin Holland is professional, and Cook CF&S, Cook Flat and Strobel. They work for the county, they work for the city, they're good guys, and so here they use all their knowledge and submit a qualified plan that meets code, and then Benish sits over here, and then they reinvent the wheel, and then the ping pong ball starts going up. The ping pong ball starts going back and forth, and then the bills just run up. And I'm telling you something. It's like it's almost as stupid as Rich Eckert saying that design build is the way to go, because it's things like that happen in a design build, and you it's something that uh, and it's what uh, professional companies like Banish want this to go on because they can just run the meter. When I worked for the Macerich company, we had two different lawyers. We had Larry Eaton on the West Coast. We had Dick Carter on the East Coast, and you could just hear Dick Carter every time you start talking about a deal, and it's a lot of problems. The meter's running, and Dick Carter's probably one of the best real estate attorneys I've ever met ever. But Larry Eaton, he may not have been as book smart, but that dude he'd do way more many deals than Dick Carter so much faster. You'd call Dick Carter or Larry Eaton would call you, and it was like, here's how the phone call went. Yes, yes, no, oh hell no, yes, okay, thanks, get that out, and the deal's done. But Dick Carter, it's like it's the difference between a fax. Dick Carter's the fax machine, Larry Eaton's email. How's that for an analogy? But so I've got some residential lots that I'm going to carve off on the evening side. I want to do some multifamily, and I got that big hill we got to knock down, and I've had a few people commercial wise, and that the elevation parkway is never going to happen, never, and so I. You know who Elevation Parkway helps the most? It's the people in the very far part of Southwest Shawnee County that want to come in and get somewhere. And until that Auburn exit gets open on the turnpike, I mean, at that point, you just hop on the turnpike and you can get north. Who's up? Who's asking that? Seeing some comments come through here. You can call into the talk show if you want. So, anyway. So I got work to do. I do. I got a lot of work to do. Oh, okay. What's this guy say? Vanessa, it's because too many people want to make a pile of money without working. There are bunches of rundown rental properties that never have been maintained and much less improved. Hey, whoever this Michael James dude is, you can't make a ton of money in Topeka. And if you say that I don't work, I don't know who you are, but I think I might block you. Hey, you know what I say about Michael? I don't care. And I don't know what you do for a living, but if you don't think I work to try to make deals happen, try to be a developer in Topeka, Kansas. Oh, man. Let's see what this guy does for a living. Oh, man. Well, he ain't a male model, I'll tell you that. not not that I'm a fashion plate, but that's so Topeka. People want to make a pile of money without working for it. Oh my God. The last video I just made was that I've worked so much on a project that the amount of time and effort, even on a generous commission, my commission, my time has exceeded the retainer, and I didn't get a retainer. But I'll tell you what, I'd never quit Dana K. And there's certain loyal people you go to work for that you don't quit. And these people that don't want renovations and projects and got all the big ideas, just put your money where your mouth is. Go out and do it. Hey, Vanessa, why don't you tell Michael how easy it is to develop in town? You know, I know you've had visions of putting deals together, and I salute your efforts, but there isn't anything. Hey, look, even Cody Foster and Jim Klossman have to work for their money. And I'm telling you, like right now downtown, and this is one of those most maddening things ever about the Biden administration. Supposedly, and it's all in the news, Newsmax, Fox News, that a he signed a deal with the IRS. 45,000 IRS agents in their contract says they don't have to come to work. And there's a huge IRS building downtown, or I think they had a big lease downtown. And if all those people, we got to get everybody in the government coming to work. Because without that, I mean, that's why people bought businesses and buildings downtown to service the government, and our government has let us down. Our government has let us down, uh, and plus the whole COVID was a sham anyway. Social distancing was fake. Masks were fake. The virus came from Hunan. I don't know. I don't think Zuckerberg will probably like me talking like this. He'll probably remove this. Um, but I can always go live on X and say whatever I want because Elon Musk at least is a savior. But Doge, I've got SNCO Doge. Hey, and that's another thing. If you ever want me to cover something about government waste, government overreach, I'm happy to go out and do it. Let's talk about it. We've got to get our citizen committee up and going. Even if the elected officials took everybody from the greater Topeka partnership and put them on the citizens committee, well, at least then today the meetings would be held in the light of day. Right now, all the decisions that make, we don't hear what they. I'm not a member of the chamber and refuse to join. I don't think in a town like Topeka I should have to pay to play. So that being said, boy, boy, got all that out. I feel better. It's I do want to talk about one thing, and I want to talk about the most important thing that we need to do today. We're taxing people out of their homes. So what I'm going to ask our legislature to pass, I know it's so simple. Everybody's probably already thought about it, and I think if Brenda Dietrich lets me talk tomorrow, that would be great. Thank you, Brenda. And Ken Corbett, if you're watching, I'll get you the one page. Hey, hello there, young man. MD's tuned in. Thank you. Um, but the Homestead Act of 2025, when you buy a house, that's the value we're going to assess your house at until you sell it. I don't care if you renovate it. You know why? If you put materials into it, you paid sales tax on that. You paid the contractor to do it. He paid income tax on that. And who knows if it added any value. But what we have here, it's a rigged system. It's a phantom system. It's not real. But because from the dawn of time, market value is what a person will pay and what a person will sell it for. That's the market value. And you can't have all this. Uh, it's Mickey Mouse. It's Kabuki. Uh, it's voodoo. You can't have the way we're doing it. You can't. You shouldn't have to pay real estate taxes of what some guy sitting in office thinks it's worth, or maybe he gets to sit at home. I doubt it. But and I'm not picking on you, Steve. Uh, we'll find work for you. There'll still be work for you to do later because when I mean, we really need to look at the commercial properties. But I'm going to go in with the Homestead Act and just see if we can get this approved. You don't. I really think that this act alone, the Homestead Act alone, would be a reason people would want to move to Kansas. Well, hey, if even if it's so let's because there'll come a point in time where we're going to attract people from California and New York due to the idiots, the foolish governments there. At least the the police chief of New York City said, "You know what? I'll join in this. I don't want this." And people that are trying to fight Trump, look, we won the election. we've got, there was a mandate, and people that are continuing to try to fight him, it just shows you how rotten the deep state is. It's terrible. And so right now, think about it. The deep state of the government of Washington is helping keep downtown Topeka depressed. I mean, we got new hotels, we got new taco stands, we got a guy that owns a bunch of stuff that he needs to renovate after he gets Lawrence Bay done. Or are you going to work on the clock tower? But hey, you we've got to do things different in this town. Oh, it's so funny. I got to the 8:30 today at Grace Cathedral. It was so nice. And I love it when God steps in. And uh, you know, he talks about change, how we need to change. And that morning I thought, well, you know, um, I should go to church today and see what God wants to tell me. And it's so funny. The guy giving the sermon today told this story, and it was really interesting. The way the guy, the delivery of the priest today, it was interesting. Uh, he kind of had really an interesting delivery. When I was at the altar, I commented, hey, good work on the sermon. He looked at me, but uh, so he tells this story about these hunters up in Alaska. They they were successful, and the plane comes to picking them up, and the pilot gets out and says, "Hey, man, you've just got this is gonna exceed the weight limit. I can't do this." And there's a lot of back and forth and payments and money and promises and getting rid of this and coming back for that. And well, finally they come to an agreement, and they load up the plane and take off. And man, they're just about clear of the tree line at the end of the runway, and man, they clip one of the trees, and they crash. Fortunately there wasn't any flames, and they kind of come to. One guy goes, "Hey, where are we?" And the other hunter goes, "Oh man, we're like 50 feet past where we crashed last year." I know that might not be the funniest joke, but it's so appropriate. It's really Topeka, Kansas. If we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, we've got to change the people in government, and more importantly, we probably need to change our form of government in Shawnee County. We should have a consolidated government with 7 people. We should have you should, uh, hell, I'll run for economic development guy. And maybe that guy goes every 2 years, and you stagger some of the people, but you get a street commissioner, the sheriff. The sheriff can be one of and the treasurer. They're elected by the county. They can be on one of they can be some of the 7. We can do things differently. We need to have a Department of Government Efficiency. We need to have Shawnee County Doge. We got to change. And nobody knows change more than Henry McClure. So that's what I've got to say tonight. And hey, you guys, all you big shots, that yeah, you're right. I don't want to work. Just buy 37th and Gage, and I'm done. You own it, and you can just keep it apart. I love y'all. I don't want to work. What a